Imagine a world where all borders have disappeared, where there is no longer a distinction between here and there. This is a world of unity, where humanity has come together as one global state for the first time. Is this a utopia or the beginning of a new challenge for mankind? Picture governments of different nations collaborating to solve global issues such as climate change, economic inequality, and pandemics. Could this be the key to humanity's survival in the future, or could it lead to the loss of cultural identity and freedom? Have you ever wondered what would happen if national states ceased to exist, and we all merged into a single global community? Would it solve the world's problems, or create new ones? Let us imagine that the first step toward this was taken by technologically advanced countries, which formed an intercontinental alliance to develop artificial intelligence and renewable energy. However, what happens to countries that rely on resource-based economies? How will they adapt to the new world? In this video, we will explore how humanity could achieve such unity, who might initiate these changes, and what will happen to culture, economy, and politics. For example, countries with advanced technology industries, such as the United States, China, and Germany, could lead this movement, while African or South American nations might adapt by focusing on environmentally friendly agricultural methods. We will also discuss how different cultures can coexist in such a unified world. Let us begin by tracing how the idea of global unification emerged. Did you know that the concept of a single world state was discussed as far back as ancient times? Plato envisioned an ideal society where everyone worked for the common good, and the Roman Empire sought to unite various peoples under one rule. However, the true push for this idea came in the 20th century, when two world wars revealed the catastrophic consequences of conflicts between nations. The concept of global cooperation began to form amid fears of destructive wars. After World War II, the idea of creating international organizations like the United Nations emerged as the first step toward global cooperation. These organizations aimed to prevent wars, promote economic development, and protect human rights. In practice, however, they faced many challenges. National interests often took precedence, and ideas of collaboration remained largely theoretical. For instance, during the Cold War, the UN was often paralyzed by the conflict between the USSR and the United States. These lessons laid the foundation for future discussions on real ways to unite. One of the first steps toward unification was globalization and technological development. The internet connected us all, allowing people from any corner of the planet to exchange information and ideas. But is this enough to break down national barriers? Imagine countries with advanced technological infrastructures, such as Japan and South Korea, actively collaborating on joint scientific projects, while less developed nations gain access to these achievements through international support programs. Let us envision a pivotal decade. Economic crises, climate disasters, and wars forced humanity to combine efforts. Leaders of the largest nations gathered at a historic summit to announce a new era, the creation of the World Union. Before this, the European Union had shown that a common economy and policy could work. The last to join were nations that had long remained neutral, such as Switzerland and some island nations that feared losing their sovereignty. The reason for starting this unification was the realization that the problems of one nation are the problems of the whole world. For instance, climate change does not stop at borders, and economic crises in one country can affect the entire globe. A turning point came when a major volcanic eruption caused temporary cooling and global famine. This catastrophe made everyone realize that survival was possible only through collective efforts. Initially, the creation of a single currency was a key step toward economic stability. It was named Unity and became a symbol of the new era. This currency was based on digital technologies, making corruption and manipulation impossible. Each member country contributed. The United States and the EU provided technology, China supplied infrastructure, and African nations offered resources essential for producing advanced materials. The next step was the creation of a unified governance system. It consisted of representatives from all countries and was based on the principle of equal voting. Governance was divided into sectoral councils: ecology, technology, healthcare, and more. For example, Scandinavian countries were responsible for developing sustainable environmental solutions, while India and Brazil focused on innovations in education and social policy. However, not everyone embraced these changes with enthusiasm. There were protests, conflicts, and even attempts at sabotage. For example, some corporations tried to resist reforms, fearing the loss of their monopolies. People struggled to let go of their identities, and many countries initiated public discussions on preserving cultural heritage. Nevertheless, governments created special programs aimed at supporting cultural diversity. Yet, within a few years, the New World Order began to function. Trade barriers disappeared, and resources were distributed more fairly. For instance, countries with large reserves of fresh water, such as Canada and Russia, began sharing them with arid regions. This helped avoid many ecological conflicts. Education became accessible to everyone. People from different parts of the world could study for free at the best universities globally. For example, students from Africa could attend Cambridge or Harvard using online platforms powered by artificial intelligence. This contributed to increased global literacy and expanded opportunities for all. One of the fascinating outcomes of unification was the revival of cultures. Instead of losing identity, humanity began to study and appreciate diversity. For example, Japanese tea ceremony traditions became popular in Europe, while Latin American music won the hearts of Asian audiences. This fostered global understanding and tolerance. But is such a scenario truly possible? And what about the unresolved issues, autonomy, human rights, and the balance of power? For instance, how can we avoid concentrating power in the hands of a few countries or corporations? This will always remain humanity's greatest challenge. As a final note, here is an intriguing fact. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, once said that technology could unite the world. His ideas about universal access to information were a step toward this future. For example, as early as the 1980s, he dreamed of computers that would be accessible to everyone, regardless of their location. Imagine that Jobs' technologies became the foundation for creating a global governance platform. It would be a platform based on principles of transparency and equality. It would allow every global citizen to participate in decision-making through a special application that considered everyone's opinions, regardless of their social status or location. And while uniting the entire world may seem like a utopia, it is our imagination and determination that can make it a reality. We must remember that great changes always start with small steps. Are you ready to be a part of this change? If this video made you think, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. How do you imagine the world after the unification of all nations? Perhaps you have your own ideas or concerns about this. Thank you for being with us. See you in our next videos, where we will continue exploring alternative futures. Together we can change the world for the better, step by step.